We could see so much shirt, Jerry. There's so much available shirt that we normally don't get to see of you.
It's got a snom on it.
That is extremely on brand for you. What is it exactly that appeals? Like, is it just like a baseline cute thing? Because I feel like most people's favorite Pokemon, they would not have gone for Snom and the substitute. But you clearly have.
There are a lot of snom enjoyers, actually.
Really?
It's not even my favorite, though. My favorite is Mawile.
Yeah, see, like, that's weird, right? Like, you ask a normie, it's like Charizard, Pikachu, the first gen stuff, or if they're a real freak, they'll say like some competitively relevant Pokemon like Landorus or whatever. But I don't think I've ever heard a Mawile Snom enjoyer to the degree that you are. Is this just like a subculture I'm not a part of, or?
Well, here's the thing: is that they make the Snom merch presumably because people like it and people buy it.
I guess.
So far they have made Snom merch, and I'm like, that little guy's cute. You know, I'm gonna buy that shit. But I've not seen a lot of Mawile merch. Let me tell you.
Do Pokemon fans get mad the way wrestling fans do when there's like someone the company is clearly trying to push or like to get over? Like where like they're like, no,
Almost
dude,
certainly.
I don't want this. Like who is like the 2012 John Cena where everyone is just like, dude, go away of Pokemon?
I just watched a movie with John Cena in it.
That can't have been a good experience.
Oh, it was okay.
Yeah.
It was fine.
Yeah.
One of those I'm very close to being sleepy, but not ready to fall asleep yet, and so I'll turn on a John Cena Idris Elba joint.
I watched that. I know exactly what the one where they're the
Yeah.
president and the prime minister.
Yeah.
It felt like
wasn't
a
bad.
John Cena humiliation ritual. Like I every time you expect him to like have a bit of depth to his character or whatever, or like show like not even like growth or anything, or just be anything other than a complete schmuck. Like it feels like it was a character written for Seth Rogen that they cast John Cena as.
Fair.
It was just
Anyway,
a weird watch.
If anything, I think the answer to that is maybe some amount of the legendaries. But here's my thing. I wish I had a thing of the thing.
Yeah.
To go to. Here's my thing.
Yeah.
And it's just a Ben Grimm
picture
plushie.
of the thing.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like cardboard cutout. I was thinking about that a couple hours before we recorded. And I was like, damn.
That is a good gag.
Another week where I forgot to get one.
Yeah, no, I need to figure out, like, we need a thing plush so we can, every time someone says, here's the thing. Yeah.
Or just if like Nora was on my lap, I could just hold her up. She's thing
sort
coded.
of. She's sort of the thing.
Yeah. I try not to engage in fandoms too much.
Sure.
Because the worst thing about fandoms are the fans.
Yeah. I mean, that's also kind of the only thing about fandoms.
True.
It's a bit like, yeah. I love living amongst humanity, but I really hate the people. Like, that's the thesis statement here. And I mean, with that in mind, let's talk about, you know, the scourge of Marvel Snap of filthy net deckers. You know, filthy, disgusting net deckers who are just the absolute, you know, I love the game, hate the people. We gotta find them. We gotta root them out.
Shrink the game, as my homie has recently begun saying.
But
and I agree. I played very little Marvel Snap this week. So catch me up. What is going on?
Oh no, I wanted to, someone commented on my YouTube, like, stop being happy when you play a cannonball. Because one of the clips that I had in my video was like, I cabled their cannonball and I like made a play that won me the game with the cannonball. And they were like, it's cringe to be happy when you play cannonball. It's like, damn. Like, shit, man. You got my ass.
How dare you enjoy things?
I sent them the you know, I've been doing this more lately. It's like when someone has a critique of my like we're just like, you didn't do what I would do. I send them like a customer service survey, basically, where it's like, we here at KMBest deeply apologize. We will endeavor to do better in the future. I'm sorry I played a good card in a good deck. Like that kind of stuff, right? Like,
Yeah, I enjoy that.
that's typically where I go when things happen there. There was another guy a couple weeks ago who was like, another like filthy net deck trash like the rest of these YouTubers, and it was on my best decks video, and all I could think was that scene from Scrubs where it was like, where do you think we are? Like,
Yeah.
no, I'm not like the rest of these I'm the source. I'm the plug. Like, I'm not out here. Like, I'm not the net decker. I am, but I'm also the net decky. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I am the fucking fountain of youth for this shit, and you're just like, oh, just another net decker. Wrong. The net.
No,
decker. I'm the
net.
The. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, like, I honestly, Marvel Snap's been pretty normal. I mean, they did a pretty ridiculous patch where I guess we should talk about the they always do this. Something that my community partakes in is a thing I'd like to call Reddit watching, which I personally don't partake in because I find it not necessarily distasteful, but it just sort of feels like the kind of thing that would add very little value to my life, even if it is comedically entertaining. And they will like just go post a Reddit thread and sort of look at it the way one would examine a zoo. And in this case, though, I felt like I was on the side of the Redditors because someone posted a Reddit thread like, they nerfed Mr. Fantastic. I can't believe they rug pulled us again. We need to hold Second Dinner accountable, which I'm going to table hold them accountable until later because it's just a very funny turn of phrase for anything, really. But all the comments were like, what the hell are you talking about, man? The card was too strong, so they nerfed it. What? Like, what? Okay, they nerfed a season pass card. God forbid. What do you want them to do? Just not nerf it because people paid for it? Do you want the game to be explicitly pay to win? Is that what you are asking for? And I found myself on the sides of the Redditors. I gotta admit, Reddit contains multitudes.
I think what they are asking for is that maybe the cards do not release that strong.
Yeah, but is that realistic?
And I don't think that's realistic. Yeah, I don't know. Like, obviously, it's a game piece they're trying to sell you.
Mm-hmm.
It is the easiest way for you to. It's the easiest way for them to convert a non-paying person into a paying person is the season pass, right? And that is especially true when the card is quite strong. So, I would imagine that those cards are gonna remain quite strong. That would be my guess.
One of the things that really stuck with me though was they always do this. Like, they don't always do this actually. Source, the current season pass Galactus First Steps, very okay. The previous season pass Esme Kaku, arguably kind of dog shit. And you have a card like Captain Carter getting buffed while it's in season pass. What frustrates me is that the economy of Marvel Snap is so mid, and that's being generous, that every single thing gets run through the prism of the economy. So every even correct balance change is perceived negatively because it has an economic impact, right? So even if you make all the correct decisions on balance in the context of the live game, this card is too strong, we're going to nerf it. This card is too weak, we're going to buff it. The community will always react in a way that treats the decision as suspect due to the profit motive. And to be clear, there definitely is a profit motive that should be thought about in that. But at the same time, I strongly suspect that the best profit motive they have is keeping the game as balanced as they can, because people don't think about the downward implications of things like Mr. Fantastic existing. One of the major ones is that Mr. Fantastic, being as good as he is, made Galactus First Steps kind of dog shit. That's what happens when there's a broken card. It's like the other cards that you're trying to sell look shittier and no one buys them. And I gotta tell you, I feel like 6,000 tokens is actually more valuable than the season pass. It makes me wonder if this is even the right way. Like, let's assume they're doing exactly what people accuse them of and just like, we're going to power creep the season pass and then nerf it. Is that even like the right way to make money if you were doing that? My microphone just absolutely ate shit, Jerry. I'm going to need you to carry the answer to that question.
Is that the right way to go about things? It's not bad. It is not a bad way to go about things. Like, I mean, rug pulling people $10 at a time is probably not the best way to go about things. Like, you could just do crypto scams and make way more, right? So, I don't know. I feel like Mr. Fantastic compared to like Hawk Tua coin or whatever is okay in my book.
Is
It's
that the
$10.
spectrum that a card game should be evaluated on?
No, of course not. But like just to try and like bring it into perspective, like they could be getting your ass like way harder, you know? Like for example, these gotcha games that I played and you know, Snap's a gotcha game, more or less. Especially ones run by Crunchyroll. They would take a game that was successful. One that I'm thinking of is like this Street Fighter AFK Arena hybrid that was popular in China. They took the rights to that, kind of like how China is doing Marvel Snap over there, right? Like they get everything, like all the assets or whatever, and they just kind of run it however they want. Like it gets contracted out to a different company or whatever, right? And that's how the Street Fighter game worked over here. Crunchyroll got the rights for it. They released it. They got to do whatever they wanted. They made the monetization like 10 times worse. Like if you compare the Chinese version of the game and the Crunchyroll version, it's just so bad all the way down. And then the first like events that they had where it was like a crossover thing. I forget what it was. It was like some Ken character in like black armor or whatever. And they're just like, oh yeah, give us $1,000 and you can have this character. Like, that's really bad. And people were like, well, this is messed up. I mean, I guess I'll buy it, but like, please don't do it again. And then they just did it again. And then like, I don't know if this game is still around, but basically like Crunchyroll's history was like, they have 6 to 12 months for every game. Like they milk you, they end of service it, they move on to the next one.
That seems like a great business model. Has Second Dinner decided that, like, have they had any conversations with anyone from Crunchyroll recently? That's
not that I know of, but there's, I don't know, a lot of people in that company that I don't talk to, you know, basically everyone. So
I do think that it's kind of nice how, and I don't even mean nice, it's just like I feel like every single decision made, someone says this is proof that they're going to end of service the game. This is proof that this game will not live any longer. And it's like, I kind of think that like downward trends are sort of obviously apparent, but the sort of floor on a game like this feels high enough that end of servicing it feels like throwing money away. A lot of the time, like, it's just like, it doesn't really seem like a realistic outcome to me. Like, what is, I think, far more reasonable to consider is like the context of an end of service with regards to like Snap content creators, because I think it's very clear that the Snap content scene has suffered probably more, relatively speaking, than Marvel Snap itself. And I think that's because these sort of changes are things that hit highly invested players incredibly noticeably. I wouldn't be shocked if, like, me personally, KMBest, was one of the most negatively impacted channels. People like me, or maybe Snap Judgments, or websites like SnapFan. Those are the things that highly invested players use, and a lot of other players do not. And those highly invested players are the ones who are most likely to be plugged into the Kid Omega stuff, etc. And so I think that, like, largely my worry for Snap isn't that Snap is going to die. My worry for Snap is that my space in the ecosystem will be shrunk out of existence.
I mean, that's basically what happened to me in Magic. Like,
yeah,
oddly enough, but I don't think there's really anything you can do to stop that tide, you know?
Yeah. I just put my face down, head down, and grind. That's it. Like, I just keep doing what I do and making content, and whatever happens that's out of my control happens, and it's out of my control, and I can't really worry about that beyond just I have to give it the best shot that I can. And obviously, like, that is my commitment to continuing to do that. But yeah, like, it's just sort of where I'm at. I'm taking more sponsors. By the way, friend of the pod, SUV. Their game, I don't know if he's actually involved, but their like so-called successor to Storybook Brawl, they sponsored me. And buddy, friend of the pod SUV, he cooked. That game is good. It's like legitimately actually good. I hate to break it to you. As an avowed, I don't even know what I would describe your relationship as. I wouldn't say you're an SUV hater, but
no, not a hater, but
I undeniably cooked. They sponsored me, and I was like, I want to do more of this game. It was very cool. And like, obviously, some of that is like, I'm looking for spaces where I can play, but like, I don't have a Marvel Snap. I think that's something I want to convey to people. Like, other people play Marvel Snap casually and they get to do that, but I can't. And so having a game in a similar time space was really awesome for me. I can't play like 6-minute games of Hearthstone, right? I could try, but not really, right? Like that's not really up to me.
I honestly, I would play more Hearthstone if the games were shorter.
Yeah, yep.
The amount of games that I played after the R had hookup, where like I'm in fatigue or my opponent's in fatigue, or it's just like, what the hell is going on?
It feels like every Hearthstone deck right now, and to be clear, this is like, according to basically everyone I know, terrible, awful meta, is either the worst control deck you've ever heard of. Just like the most absolutely annoying. Like this is Starship DK. This is basically any deck with Kill Jaden in it. Like just the most obnoxious piece of shit of all time. Or because they nerfed all the aggro decks, it's just like some deck that tries to like giant board you on turn 6. Or it's just a rogue deck that plays cards. Like, that's kind of it in terms of the metagame right now. It's just like, either you do nothing for 4 turns and then giant board, or you are cards rogue, or you are the worst control deck ever made. Just the most demonic from the pit of hell control deck of all time.
Cards rogue, presumably, like there's like those cards have to be discounted somehow, right?
No. Well, I mean, the somehow is Prep and Shadow Step, which exist in every rogue deck.
Oh, so you're not talking about like playing other classes cards? It is
no. It's just like a bunch of legendaries rogue. Like it's just like 15,000 dust rogue. Like it's just cards. It's just a bunch. It's the good cards pile archetype of the current metagame.
I liked there was like a brief window where like a kind of a Loki Arishem rogue deck was playable. It was just playing a bunch of your opponent's stuff. And it's like,
yeah,
I
mean,
at least fine, but
Cards Rogue will play maybe an Ashamain, which is basically Loki on crack, but he costs like 10 million. Very, very funny design. Like, just what it is it's Loki, except they're discounted by 3. And it just fills your hand up with their cards discounted by 3. But it costs like 9, so it's like, whatever, who cares? Like, it's chill.
Yeah.
That's like the average 9-cost Hearthstone card. The average 9-cost Hearthstone card does something about that stupid.
Yeah, that's true. And Loki probably should have cost 9.
Okay, design challenge. You're making Loki right now. What do you put him at? What's his cost? Original Loki.
I mean, do I get to say that this is never going to be a fun experience for the opponent because they are suddenly just doing the same thing that you are doing, except better?
You do not get to say that, no.
And like you're saying, it has to be your deck goes pee pee poof. It becomes their deck, but the cards cost 1 less.
No, your hand goes pee pee poof. It becomes cards from their deck that cost 1 less.
Oh.
I have an answer.
I mean, it should cost like 4 or something.
See, I was thinking it would just be like a 5, 6. Like, I think of it as like, it's Sarah, but their deck, right? So my instinct is this card should be costed about where Sarah is, if that's what you're going to do.
That's fair.
I don't think you can make it at 4. Like, I think if you did 4, you'd be like, oh, we got to make it a 4 or 5. And we've had that and it was stupid. So I think it's
Yeah.
got to be like a 5, 6 or something. Like, if you wanted to make old Loki, I kind of think, and I think it's entirely possible that would still be a pretty dumb card, but it's also entirely possible that one would be balanced.
Yeah, Sarah, but their deck makes sense. And especially, I don't know, I kind of hate that by the time you are ready to play this Loki, you recognize whether or not the Sarah discount actually does anything.
Is that not like kind of cool in the context of a game with snaps and retreats?
Well, I just think it's like it's never gonna work out kind of poorly for you.
You're saying you just never play it?
Well, if your opponent has a bunch of like 5s and 6s or whatever, and you know that you're not going to be able to double spell, playing Loki on 5 basically doesn't do anything, right?
Sure.
So I don't know. Can we just blow it up? Can we just Kang that shit?
I mean, they did. They did blow it up. I bet you Loki's got about the same play rate as Kang right now, or at least similarly negligible. Like, it could be 3 times more, but it would be like 1.2 compared to 0.3, right? Like, that's.
You remember the first podcast you had me on?
God, like on the snapshot.
Yeah.
Like early in the snapshot.
It was when Kang was coming out.
Yeah.
And y'all asked me about it, and I had to be I tried to be nice. I was like, this card seems unplayable, but like people were just like
we were high on it.
So thrilled by it. And then it also worked worse than I thought it would. I thought it would be like a Daredevil kind of thing where like their stuff got locked in. The fact that like your opponent then gets to change what they want to do after you see is just the dumbest shit.
I mean, wouldn't the card be kind of broken if it was just C turn 6? Like, there's a reason Daredevil doesn't work on turn 6, right?
It costs you a card, though. It costs you a card in a deck slot. Like,
I mean, I feel like I would play that card. I gotta be honest with you. I feel like I would play that card.
Turn 6, sure, but like it shouldn't. You should be able to like template it that way, I guess. Like a magic sense.
Yeah, I do think that like one of the things that Marvel Snap doesn't have is like these sort of easy fixes for complex technical issues that would otherwise be solved by just putting like some italicized text on the card in other games. Like I do think there is something to be said for I don't know if this is a good thing. Magic's willingness to use their entire space to put text on a card. Like I wish they didn't do it so much because I can't read, but I do think that it is like if the space is there, you might as well use it, right? And I wonder about that with Marvel Snap. Like they started doing those reminder texts, which I think is like a really good addition, a way of getting them more space on that. And I think that is good.
Yeah.
And they should like try to figure out other things in that vein that would allow them to make cards that are technically complex, but are not worded in such a way that they drive half of the people who analyze them completely insane. Like, for example, Frankie Ray, who just came out, it seems pretty obvious from understanding the English language that when she says the next one you play means the next one after me means only one time I'm going to multiply, right?
Right.
But because it's not explicitly stated in the way that other once per game effects are, people are like, why didn't you? Well, obviously they didn't. If they wanted to say it, they would have put the once per game. And it's just like, there's this inconsistent templating going on.
Well, I do wonder how the English version like translates to other languages, I guess. You know, like that would be interesting to know. I don't know if it's like more or less definitive there, but yeah, to me it reads like it might not be apparent on first read, but like if you asked me and then I read the card, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, it only happens one time. It is the next time and that's it, you know?"
The same thing's happening with the card coming out next week, which is the Fallen one, who says set your energy equal to this guy's power, right? Like set your maximum energy equal to his power. I've had multiple people be like, why would I lock my energy to 5? It's like, that's not how he's going to work. Like, it's like,
I mean, the rule of the game is you get +1
yes.
energy per turn.
you get specifically +1 max energy per turn. And the difference is notable because like Havoc will eat from your max energy, but if you have, say, a Luna Snow, he won't eat the Luna Snow energy because that's not max energy and that's not what he gives a shit about. And so like the same thing is applicable here where it's like if you play this card on 5, you're still gaining max energy on 6. Like that's still happening. You're still gaining +1 when the turn rolls over. And I think that like I don't know if it's a problem of just like there's a certain type of person that a card game attracts who is extremely anal retentive about rules. But
pedantic.
Actually, Jerry, it's pedantic.
That's what I meant.
Fucking
I thought about it before I said it, and then still got it wrong.
Fucking absolutely crushed it, dude. Correcting someone on the pronunciation of pedantic is like my apex, dude. I will never climb higher.
I knew I was going to have to think about it. I thought about it and I still got it wrong. And I don't know what that says about me, but regardless, there are plenty of words that I learned from like books or comic books or video games or whatever. Right.
Yes.
And, pedantic learning was a card in Odyssey, a rare.
Damn. I learned words from Magic cards too. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure I learned the word onslaught from the set Onslaught. Like, I am almost positive that's the first time I heard that word in any context.
Oh, well, I knew the X-Men character before that set. So.
Nice. Yeah. That makes sense. I saw a study that said that fewer millennial parents are reading to their kids. And I just want to say, good for those millennial parents. Reading is a pathway to playing card games for a living, which is a future you definitely want to save your children from.
That's true. I was reading before I was playing card games. Look at me now. I got bugs on my shirt.
What?
I got bugs on my shirt. I got a snom on my shirt. We talked about this.
A snom is a bug?
It's an ice bug. I
just, like, for some reason that never... Right, it is. Now that I think about it, you're like, oh, yeah. I don't know. I just thought it was like a little cream puff. I don't know.
Have you seen what it evolves into?
Yes. No, I had to think about it, though. I was like, okay,
right,
I get it now.
For the pedantic thing, we're even.
What do you mean you have bugs on your shirt? Jerry, we clean the basement in which you live rigorously in between clones. We pour acid everywhere. There are no bugs down there.
I had a lizard in my basement today. It was a cute little thing.
My cat is we've discussed on the program before that she's kind of a moron.
Program.
But she is somehow incredible at hunting and killing lizards. Or alternatively, there are so many lizards that even someone of her relative intelligence is capable of this. I'm unsure which, but either way, like, I would say it's probably a weekly occurrence that it's just like dead lizard. And you know what she doesn't kill? Any cockroaches. They're too smart. The lizards, she's got that. Cockroaches, way too smart for her.
I could understand it if she saw cockroaches like, nuh-uh.
No, like she'll do it. It's just like they'll actually run away in a meaningful way. Like they'll go into a hole or whatever, or scrub under something. And the lizards apparently will not do this.
The lizard was zooming away from me today.
I don't know. Based on her track record. Ugh.
I was trying to gently scoop it up and put it back outside. And could not do so. I was like, all right, you live here now. I have a roommate.
Like, we have a bunch of geckos that live outside the kitchen window, which is very fun because it's like you wake up, you go get water, and it's just like gecko belly. Cute. It's nice. It's not a bad way to live. Like I gotta tell you, the joys of like a relatively out of the way living. It's just nice. Like I'm not a big nature guy, but a gecko, that's cool with me. I appreciate lizards too. It makes me sad that my cat decides to murder them. I had lizards as a pet. I would catch them from outside and then just sort of keep them around and feed them crickets. Go to the pet store and buy crickets. a pet store that I later learned was like maybe a front for criminal operations, which is just a very funny thing for a pet store to be. Like, just why a pet store? But
Yeah.
this all brings us back. I think everyone can see how this relates to, of course, the main topic of this podcast, Marvel Snap, right? And the loss of Mr. Fantastic was a notable decrease in consistency for a wide variety of archetypes, in much the same way that my cat is extremely inconsistent in terms of what she is able to protect our house from. Now that I've brought that whole thing full circle, I do actually want to talk a little bit about Senor Fantastico and whether or not him getting like kind of punched in the face affects your evaluation of the Fallen One as a card. Because I think the Fallen One is a card that is dramatically better if it gets one Mr. Fantastic proc either direction. Either you play it on 4, sending yourself to 6 on 5, which is great, or you play it with a bonus on 5, sending yourself to 8 on 6. That is stuff that it really wanted to do, and that card that it was going to go with is now way worse.
Big deal for sure. Kind of copium good news, though, is that if you want to play the Fallen One, you could still play Mr. Fantastic. It's just way worse. Is that card unplayable, by the way? It seems unplayable, Mr. Fantastic.
I think the frustrating thing is it's not actually. Like, it's just good enough that you will probably see it occasionally, but not good enough that you're ever excited to play it.
I did the thing where I was like, the OTA happened. I was just
thing.
too lazy. Yeah, I did the thing, you know. What's up?
What's up, dude?
I was too lazy when the OTA happened to like build a new deck. And I was just like, how bad can it be? And I was just like, God, this card sucks now.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
I think one of the things that I didn't appreciate while he was busted was just how there's a thing that happens, and this is like I feel like an obvious statement. And you're going to look at me and be like, yeah, we know. But a lot of the time in card games, something is good by virtue of being like 20% better at working with the thing that's actually broken, right? And so, like, there's a lot of these Mr. Fantastic decks that are like, you know, they're like 20% better at being a Mr. Fantastic deck than, say, a Fenris Wolf deck with Gladiator is, right? Fenris Wolf Gladiator decks, no obvious synergy. He's just in there for stats. It's fine, but you're not going to be like, holy shit. But like a deck running Brood, a deck running Mr. Sinister, like the deck that Chamo used in the top 4 of the Golden Gauntlet, things like that are going to have like a much more direct improvement with Mr. Fantastic, and then a much more direct decrease in efficacy when he gets nerfed, leaving all these other things that didn't play well with him in a relatively better position. And I think that's a lot of what's happening right now. There is so much Cannonball Mercury, which was fine with Mr. Fantastic, but didn't get like specifically juiced with him. There's Fenris Gladiator. Also fine with Mr. Fantastic. Everything is, but it didn't get specifically juiced by him. And so these things get like a little bit of a leg up compared to the stuff like Fantastic card decks that were specifically juiced by him and other things of that nature.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I'm ever going to look at a deck list again with that card and be like, oh yeah, I can't wait to put that card into play again. You know, just play like 2 games or it was like, oh, it's just so slow and bad and
Fastos.
It's like kind of worse. I don't know.
I think it's better than Fastos, but I saw someone saying that this nerf was bad because it now meant that there was no reason to play Fastos. And I was like, now?
I'm pretty sure if the 3/4 invalidates Fastos, certainly the 2/2 did.
Yeah. It's like,
I mean, I guess you could play them
now?
together, but like you could argue that there was redundancy or something. I don't know.
Now it invalidates. I see. That's when Fastos became invalid.
That's one of those things where it's like, man, I appreciate you trying to be logical about it, but you just like veered off in a weird direction, you know?
It's one of those things that's like technically true, but not necessarily incredibly functional as like a way to judge things. like the guy who won Golden Gauntlet, Fox, was famous in my Discord for like constantly talking about like what a tech card is. And his theory of what a tech card is was that Gore was a tech card, Ajax was a tech card. Anything that had variable output based on your opponent's decisions was a tech card. And to me, that's just like very obviously not true, right? That is actually one of those all rectangles are square, all squares are rectangles, but not all rectangles are squares kind of things, where it's like, with a tech card, it has to be, there is a matter of degree here, right? Like it's not just any card that is dependent on your opponent is a tech card. If that was what you were defining tech cards as, you have lost the meaning of making a distinction between any kinds of cards. Galactus is a tech card then. And it's sort of, what is the point of the word if not to communicate a concept? And if you sort of expand like the way a square communicates a square, and a rectangle sort of communicates not a square, but can be a square.
Yeah, define tempo for me.
Yeah, it's that. it's that. For those unfamiliar, the conversation around tempo in Magic the Gathering is easily the coolest conversation you can have, and everyone who has that conversation gets laid 100 times every 100 days. The coolest people in Magic the Gathering are always debating whether or not this is a tempo deck.
I never got to write an article about tempo. I was working on it for about 5 years or so.
And no doubt getting laid every day.
Around that time, I was actually.
Oh, well. Yeah, see?
I don't think those two things were related, honestly.
They objectively were.
If you say so. Anyway, I don't have many regrets in life. I guess that is one of them. I wanted to put it to bed.
That's I'm sure that would have done that, right? I'm sure your article on tempo would have definitely ended that debate forever.
I don't know if this is like normal Gerry hubris, or if it's like cishet white dude hubris, or like both combined or whatever, but I was like, I can write the definitive article on tempo. I can definitely do this. This is like my PowerPoint presentation thing, you know? I was like, I'm going to make the PowerPoint to end all PowerPoints.
How'd that PowerPoint go, by the way? Can we upload it on the YouTube channel?
I haven't done it yet.
Oh, damn. It's just in the can.
I have
the Omegaverse PowerPoint has been you've just been cooking for 6 months.
I have the outline written, but I've not like made the actual slides yet. And then I was going to cram like the day before and just do it. But then I got called out of town for some reason. And so I knew I wasn't going to be able to make it. So I was just like, oh yeah, I just won't do it. And then I'll do it like the day before, whenever they set the date for it again. They haven't set the date for it. So I've just gotten out of it.
This is, it is just awesome to be like, I'm going to put the tempo debate to bed. That is so
like, how do I have that thought? How does that thought cross my mind? And how am I just like, yeah,
totally.
Yeah, you can totally do that, bro.
It's like me going on the internet and being like, today I am going to log on to the internet and everyone will like me. Like, what are you talking about? Like, fucking lived a day in your life.
I could understand how it wouldn't happen to most people, but I am not most people, you see. So if anyone can make it happen, I believe it to be me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. As long as you append that first clause of if anyone can make it happen, it's sort of like saying, you know, if anyone can grow wings and fly to the sun and live, it would be me. And it's like, you know, that might be true. But also, the if part matters a lot. Like the predicate clause there.
It's a very load-bearing if.
Yeah.
Load-bearing if.
Yeah.
Anyway, I never wrote it because I never got to a definitive point. Like there are exceptions that prove the rule, basically. Right?
Hold on. I'm going to solve the tempo debate. Also, I never got to a definitive point in my solution to the tempo debate.
Well, I have a lot of salient points.
Okay.
But I think that there's always the one thing that you know, a fellow pedantic person such as yourself could bring up that disproves it. That's why.
I
Hello.
see. Yeah, no, we talked about the tempo debate, and she was like, I have strong opinions on Delver of Secrets." You know?
Yeah. Oh, people are talking about tempo. I want to be part of it. Said every Magic player ever. They
Yeah,
just
she's
cannot
about to log on to
resist
MTG
chiming in.
Salvation.
Yeah.
Just go for it, dude.
God, what's my password? Oh, guess I'll just make a new account.
Tempo 114. That's my password on MTG Salvation. You can
Anyway,
try
this is not just a Magic thing. I also think this is like a Pokemon thing potentially.
I mean, I was gonna draw an analogy to like I've been reading a lot recently about early Christendom and like the Byzantine Church and how it evolved out of the church, right?
Why?
I've always been a bit of a Rome head, but like a Roman Republic head, where like a lot of people are like, "Oh, I think about the Roman Empire all the time." First of all, they probably don't do so in like a historical context. They probably just think it would be cool if I were Roman emperor or whatever, or just like some sort of like thing about defeating the barbarians that's like sort of weird Western right-wing overtones kind of deal, right? Like a marble statue profile picture on Twitter kind of guy. But
that
like,
guy can put the tempo.
Yeah, I'll put the tempo debate to rest. Yeah, I think that like what has always fascinated me about Rome specifically was this sort of concept of not necessarily mapping our politics onto their politics, but when you look at like our political system modeled off of their political system, what were the aristocrats of the day like? To me, Rome is a sort of study of like, oh, it's kind of always been like this. There've always been these people who had a bunch of shit, even in like alleged republics and democracies, and would regard themselves as better than others, and the sort of ways in which like you look at Julius Caesar as a sort of alternate conqueror, destroyer of the republic. At the same time, he was a populist. It was like it wasn't like a populist revolution, but he was the one who was allied with populist forces against the sort of aristocratic forces that he ended up winning against. And so, like, that kind of stuff is fascinating to me. The ways in which politics moved back then, the Gracchus brothers, who were famously killed by members of the aristocratic faction for trying to do land reform and, like, let people have food and places to live, basically. And they got literally murdered by a bunch. They got Jan 6th, basically, is what happened. like they got successful Jan 6th. And so you have like a bunch of really interesting stuff going, but like once the Republic falls into the Second Triumvirate era and then really sort of becomes an empire, it becomes much less interesting to me a lot of the time. So what I actually was doing was reading up on like where words came from. Like
Got it.
a lot of linguistic stuff is how this started. For example, Theodoric the Great was the guy who took over like the post collapse of the Roman Empire Rome, right? Theodoric gradually gets changed as it goes through names, and it becomes the modern day name Dietrich. And it's just like Theodoric, and then you end up with Dietrich. And it's like, oh shit, I had no idea. And there's a lot of names you can go back like that. And a lot of those names are related to the apostles. And so that's sort of how I got onto that track of what I was doing there. Where it's just like, I was just sort of messing around with that. And then suddenly I end up reading a lot about like Domitian and Heraclius and the ways in which the Byzantine Empire, which actually, that's an offensive term. They did not consider themselves anything other than Romans, but whatever. The wars between the Byzantine Empire and the various Iranian empires culminating in the Sassanid Empire, and how those wars led to the capability of the rise of Islam, because those were the two major regional powers. They fought each other and basically just like left each other on death's door, which allowed the Rashidun Caliphate to sort of overtake both of them. And like this stuff and how it relates to like modern day religion and politics in the region, I think you can understand why I may or may not be reading about the history of the Middle East and how far it goes back to Rome, right? And so that's sort of the Cliff's Notes on what I've been doing recently. That's what I've been doing. That's KMBest life update. I don't remember in what context I brought this up. This is what's on my mind lately.
I played 8 hours of Is It Cauldron Mirrors yesterday. That's what I've been doing.
This has been Gerry Thompson Life Update. Da, 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 da. Why?
My friend wants to qualify for the Pro Tour.
I feel like, what does that have to do with you? Is it just like come with me kind of deal, or was it like a team thing?
Oh, I ain't going with him. Fuck that.
Why are you
I would like my friend to achieve his goals,
okay?
regardless of how silly I think they are. You know?
I'm not seeing the connection of the mirrors. Oh, I get it. You were he was the person on the other. I understand.
Yeah.
I thought that was just an analogy for like going to a standard tournament. Like I didn't realize that was like, oh, I'm training with my friend. I thought that was like I went to a standard tournament and played 8 hours of Is It Cauldron Mirrors.
No, I went to 2 standard tournaments the week before, and I played like a blue-black punch myself in the face deck.
Yep.
And Boros Dragons. I
Boros
don't play
Dragons
real
sounds
decks.
awesome though.
Yeah, I don't play real decks in tournaments.
That makes sense.
But he was like, he's like, I want to qualify, and then I decided to help him figure out the mirror match. So I did that.
To lab that. Sure. I gotta tell you, if I wanted to qualify for the Pro Tour, I think what I would ask you is, can you just send me a sideboard guide? I would do that. I don't know if you need 8 hours of the mirror match to win a PTQ. Maybe you do in some like really spiky regions, but
I needed that time to like actually try various sideboard plans and figure out why they were not working.
That makes sense. See,
so
yeah.
I think he is a person who will like try a bunch of cards and figure things out. But when I did it, it was like, okay, this deck operates this way, this very specific way. And if you try to do like A, this is what happens. If you try and do B, this is what happens. If you try to do C, this is what happens. Right. And it was really funny to me because this is an instance where like the common consensus now is to like move away from your combo stuff. And then at the end of it, I was like, why in God's name will you cut any of the combo stuff? It doesn't make any sense. And then my friend also reminded me that I basically taught him this lesson in regards to like Legacy Reanimator like 3 years ago.
I do appreciate that Magic the Gathering is one of those, or like card games in general, is one of those places where people still believe esoteric knowledge exists, where it's like the disparity between people who know stuff about card games and people who have never thought about it or don't understand how to think about it is so great that I feel like it is one of the few places in which that level of inequality exists in terms of understanding of how things work, such that like people would just believe it if you told them the sky was purple. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying you're wrong here, to be clear, but I am saying that I'm pretty sure you could tell me anything about a matchup and I would be like, yup.
So have you seen any of these deck lists?
Mm-hmm. I've seen, okay, I know 8 cards in the deck. They are Vivi Ornithir and Agatha's Soul Cauldron. I do not understand what the combo is. I don't know a single thing about it other than that Paulo and friend of the podcast, Jake Beardsley, apparently broke this format.
Yeah, don't give credit to Paulo, though. Give it to Jake.
I asked Jake. Jake did a comment on my hot takes video, which was good and made it in there. It was a good hot take. Someone got mad at me for it, which is how you know it's a good hot take. He was saying we should allow gambling in for credits. And someone was like, Cam, that's a terrible idea. You shouldn't allow gambling. Gambling is wrong. And to that person's credit, gambling is wrong. Fully endorsed. However, I am addicted to soft gambling, and that is soft enough for me to be okay with it. DraftKings, on the other hand, should be banned. We have a long-standing policy on this podcast. My official statement on gambling is they shouldn't let you do it on the phone. That's it. You should have to drive 2 hours wherever you are.
They should also not. They should not advertise to you on TV. Like, didn't we go through this with cigarettes? You know, like the fact that you're like advertising a gambling website and it's like, well, if you have a gambling problem, I mean, call this number. You know, it's like that doesn't solve the issue. They should just not be advertising.
The gambling charity fig leaf thing is really notable to me. Where it's like these the like 1-800-GAMBLER and these hotlines, I'm sure they do good, but they exist because they are useful to the gambling industry. Like,
I believe that too.
right. It's not even like a belief. That's just what they are, right? Like they exist because they provide the gambling industry some level of like legal indemnity from the consequences of their business model. And that is like, I find it very hard to judge the morality of that, but all of my instincts are saying it doesn't matter if you're doing good on an individual level if your systemic purpose is to allow this business to exist.
Yeah, I'm just saying that like you put, oh, smoking may cause cancer on the packages of cigarettes or whatever. It's like, no, just ban them. How about that? I say this as a person with a nicotine addiction. Like, come on.
Yeah, you don't care if they ban cigarettes because you'll just get it from like vapes that inject nickel into your lungs.
Well, they should also ban these probably too, but like
I
think there are a lot of people who have gone broke from gambling and like their gambling addiction who are like, yeah, you should probably ban gambling, you know, like just because I'm partaking in it because I am like somewhat of a victim, you know?
Right, I'm doing the you participate in society meme. Curious.
Yeah.
You say we should ban gambling, and yet you lost $100,000. What?
Yeah.
Curious. I feel like I kind of wish that nicotine worked for me because I feel like puffing vape clouds is kind of cool. Like I would like to do that, but I just don't ever feel like it's something I want to go do. My addictions are cough drops. That's what I'm addicted to. I have like an oral fixation. I gotta have something in there. Nobody clip that, please. I think that is a large part of it, and the other part of it is like it soothes my stomach because it generates extra saliva, and I talk a lot, so my throat is often sore. So that's pretty much it. That's why my tongue is always like that. That's the deal.
Anyway, Cauldron deck.
Yes.
Has this card Cauldron that you activate it to eat a VV out of a graveyard. And then you make 40 mana.
Sure, I'll pretend I understand how that works, but yeah.
And it can target out of either player's graveyard. So both of you are trying to put a VV in the graveyard and then eat it with a Cauldron. If you both have a Cauldron, you just kind of sit there staring at each other like idiots.
Yeah, that sounds horrible.
You don't want to be the person to just mindlessly discard a VV because they could eat with a Cauldron, make 40 mana, and kill you. So then people are like, yeah, this is awkward. I'm just gonna cut all of this stuff, and then surely I'll win the game. But they'll never eat my VV, you know. I'm just like, that's stupid. It's so stupid because they have a backup plan that involves making their creatures a bunch of like 10/10s. So if you cut the combo stuff and then they make some 10/10s, you have no comeback mechanism. Your comeback mechanism is the combo.
So what you're saying is you leave your combo in under the assumption that your opponent will cut the punishes for it?
No, I think you leave the combo in because it is strategically correct.
Is there a sideboard plan wherein the person on the 10/10s, let's say, cuts all their VVs but keeps all their Agathas and then does the 10/10s and also has just as many Agathas as you do?
So I'm operating from the perspective of like, okay, I can do that, but what if they make the 10/10s before I do?
Okay, so you're saying fundamentally you've just exchanged one type of coin flip for another. Don't do that. Put your game plan in the deck.
And there is basically like no good recourse to the 10/10 stuff. Like you can try and fight it, but there are not good ways to fight it, and it just does not work out, you know? So you are still coin flipping for sure, but if you're trying to like get some semblance of an edge, it is keep in the combo, have ways to interact with their counterplay, right? Like blow up their cauldron, play your own, discard VV, make a bunch of mana.
Yeah, like play a bunch of Abrades instead of the sideboard plan of the 10/10s.
The 10/10 stuff is main deck too.
Jesus Christ. Okay. So, I mean, I'm assuming a bunch of Abrades is already standard then?
It is, but I don't know, like, I think having the Abrades and then still moving away from the combo stuff is, like, bizarre to me. Like, if
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
everyone, like, seemingly decided that, like, the combo stuff is not good in the mirror. Like, Canister 5-0'd a qualifier thing with a version that had, like, 2 VVs in his deck. He was, like, pre-boarded.
Yeah. I'm waiting for
okay, well, if you're pre-boarded and it involves cutting the combo, why do you need the Abrades?
That does raise the question, yeah. Like, if the combo is so... Yeah, okay, I buy it. But this is what I mean.
The combo stuff. Like, this is what it took me 8 hours to figure out the shit I learned 3 years ago with the reanimator stuff, where people were like, "Oh, if I put a big creature in my graveyard and they just use a graveyard removal card, I lose." And it's like, yeah, that's going to happen sometimes. But if you take it out of your deck, then your deck no longer has that capability. So what are you doing?
Yeah, I think conceptually that makes sense to me. But this kind of brings me back to the esoteric knowledge bit, where, wow, that was what I got on the Roman thing from, wasn't it? Anyway, esoteric knowledge, in the like literal sense of the word, refers to like knowledge that is secret or held to just a few, right? And back in the day, it was so rare, or not necessarily so rare. It was so rare for people to be like well read or well informed about the world. But one of the things we take for granted is just how much we can know, right? But throughout human history, we have had these people who are like, I actually have the secret, right? Like, and the more we know that a lot of those people were like lying pieces of shit, right? But that kind of esoteric knowledge, the only place you can find it if you're like a rational minded, SF tech bro, is in card games. That's where the esoteric knowledge is. There's some guy who's such of a subject matter expert, and conclusions can be taken to such different degrees, right? You and Canister are both really fucking good. You have opposite ideas about this. Esoteric knowledge. There isn't anything that anyone can say for sure, which provides a lot of room for, here's $10 for my sideboard guide.
Well, I do think the Canister is very smart. I think that to some degree you are correct in the terms of like esoteric knowledge existing within card game players, specifically Magic. But I feel like a lot of it is people just, I try this card, play 50 games. Didn't feel good. Okay, I tried this other card, play 50 games. Oh, it felt okay. I'll play that card. And not a whole lot of thought or rationale behind the hows and the whys. Like, why is this card being successful? How is this actually contributing to you winning or not? Like, did that card actually matter in the games that you won? Maybe you just were on a little bit more of a heater than in the previous session or whatever, right? But by playing the games and trying various things, I figured out that, like, well, if they have the profs thing, which is to like make all my shit enormous, and I do not, the only way that I can come back from that is by comboing. So me then cutting the combo from my deck means that I will not be able to win if they ever do that before me. And it's just like, that's the shit place to be. I don't know. Like, you might be on the draw some games, like it just doesn't make any sense.
Not me though.
And
I would simply win my coin flips.
Well, sure, but I don't know. I mean, you could win a coin flip, mold 2, and then maybe you win game 2.
Yeah.
And then you're on the draw for game 3, who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe you get a game loss for being late to the round,
Maybe you get a game loss because we can't know what happened 2 turns ago. We've come too far to actually understand how it impacted the game state. And I just called the judge, who is my friend Noah Rabin.
Yeah, maybe. So I think that I can break this down and explain the hows and whys. And that is what a day at the office looks like for me, is just actually playing live for 8 hours, and figuring this shit out. And now I have this information, and where do I go from here? What do I do with that? I mean, I think that I could do a lot of stuff if I were getting paid to write articles. Then I would continue down this path, but I am not. So now I'm just like, all right, well, if you want to put in another session next week and we actually figure out what to do with that, we can do that, but that's kind of up to my homie.
I mean, obviously you have the Gerry Thompson podcast. You've shown a steadfast refusal to just like get on YouTube and talk about shit. And I'm not really sure why, but I feel like that would be good content for that too. If you were to do like a KMBest style video where it's just like, I'm going to talk at you for 20 minutes, go nuts. And then I'll edit this off the audio waveform. It takes no time.
How many hours do you spend on just YouTube per week? And how much money on average do you make?
I don't want to disclose my finances, but I make enough money to make the hours worth it.
Okay.
I'll say that much. It's good for me.
Yeah, I mean, that is ultimately like the question that I'm asking, right? So like that's fine. But I feel like it would not be worth it for me.
Fair enough. I mean, like, I do think that, like, in certain aspects, this is the hardest job I've ever had. And that's not to say that it even counts as a job. But if you look at just, like, something raw, like total hours of work per week spent actually working, way higher in content creation than anything else. Because every other job I've had, there are, especially in an office job, there's just periods where, not that there's nothing to do, but, like, there's kind of nothing to do, right? Like,
yeah.
I've always been someone who's very good at finishing assignments early. I realized pretty early on that if you finish the assignment early and you tell them that you finished the assignment early, they're going to give you another assignment and then they're going to expect it in the same amount of time, which is not necessarily possible to actually deliver on because I have ADHD, and whether or not I'm able to actually get this shit done in certain time frames is largely dependent on that, and I don't want to burn myself out. Whereas with this, it's enough of a fixation that doesn't really come into play. But that does open up the fact that, like, I spend hours and hours and hours and hours actually actively working and doing things in a way that I don't think is true for basically anything else. Like, if I ever don't want to play a game, it comes at a financial cost to me. And I have to just eat that, right? And that management, the fact that I've been able to go this long without burning out in a real way, I think is I'm happy with myself for doing it. We're coming up on almost 2 years of uploading a YouTube video every day. So
yeah, it is very impressive, and I don't think that I could do that because there are just like dead periods.
Yep.
For Magic, and I know that there are ways around that, but it's like I don't ever want to put a thing with my name on it that I'm not like super proud of. So,
I ran into that with Hearthstone, where it's like, oh, the meta's figured out. What am I supposed to do a video on? What am I doing? Like, whereas like with Marvel Snap, I mean, say this for the fucking balance schedule, it is a godsend to content creator. Like, there's always something happening.
I do appreciate that. Certainly Magic could use more of that. It would be nice.
They're in such a hilarious spot right now where it's like, okay, we just did 1 billion bans. We're going to fix standard.
And rotation happened.
Yes. And then the same deck that the greatest player of all time took to the Pro Tour, didn't get hit by any bans, already was quite good, immediately ruins your format. And it's like, do we just do another ban?
And also lost its win condition in rotation. They used to play a card that would just like fireball your opponent, basically.
Oh, now it's like something shittier, but still incredibly functional.
No, now it's like, oh, I make a bunch of mana with the VV and like hope to be able to kill you that turn, basically, or like build a big board and hope that is good enough. And I mean, it is most of the time. I think honestly, playing the fireball card was like pretty bad.
that rocks so hard. Like that is the sickest shit. I am generally a fan of it. Just the like that concept. And to put it into further context, the card that makes this combo work is like the premier card of the Final Fantasy set. Like it's the best card in the set of your biggest crossover ever. And it's just like, what are we gonna do? Ban it? Like that's one of those cases where it's like, I feel like, man, the financial incentives mixing with the balance incentives, it's not good, folks.
This is analogous to the Mr. Fantastic conversation where it's like, all right, well, we want this set to sell. We want it to do well. And we, especially for like Pro Tour Final Fantasy, we want people to actually be putting some fucking Final Fantasy cards into play. You know, I think that would make a lot of sense.
Very few of the other ones, am I correct in saying this? Pretty much not much of the rest of the set did well there. Only Vivi.
Like, yeah, did well, sure, but that's because the top 8 was 4 blue-red decks and 4 mono-red decks.
Sure.
But there were people experimenting with like weirder stuff, you know, like there were like Yuna is a deck that is her as the archetype effectively.
Good.
And that was like 2% of the metagame. And now the Cauldron card is a graveyard hate card and Yuna is a graveyard card. So the fact that VV still exists and Cauldron still exists means that Yuna is not playable. But yeah, they put a lot of eggs in the basket of VV, and for many reasons they sold a lot of cards, right? And now it's like, well, okay, maybe we push the envelope a little bit too much on VV, trying to get that card to see play and be part of the format. And now what do we do? How do we walk this back a little bit?
Right. Like, to me, I like, this is why I would prefer doing what Marvel Snap did, where it's like, you got to hit the guy whose fault it actually is. You just got to do it. I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry about your balance sheet or whatever. Because like, I think that in both card games, the financial incentives are largely don't nerf stuff if you can. Like, you don't want to have to actually do that. But in Magic, it's much stronger because it's a much more real impact to trust of the evaluations of value of these cards.
Yeah, it's weird because average standard deck is like $400. This deck is about double that, and VV's 50, Cauldron is 60. And I don't think you can not ban one of those cards. So shit is going to be bad for people no matter what.
And there's no good timing for it either. Like, one of the things I see card game companies get killed for is timing. Like, there's ever a good time to do something like that.
Orlando is a standard GP in 2 weeks, and it's standard.
Right. And so, like, if they'd done it immediately, they maybe get killed for overreacting, but they prevent people from going out and spending $60 on a card that doesn't exist, or I guess $50, depending on either one. If one of them gets banned, the other one goes down too, is the problem, right? Like, it's
no, I think like that price is not indicative of just it seeing standard play. Like, both of them are like wildly popular, you know, commandery type cards.
Okay, well, that's good at least.
They're both, I think, the most expensive cards in their set.
That is so damn funny. That rocks. That's a very Marvel Snap thing to do. Oh, you're telling me the season passes? Oh, it's Sam and Iron Patriot? Yeah. Oh, wow, crazy. Like, those are really good cards. Yeah, that's crazy.
Working hand in hand.
Whoa. Yeah, it rocks. I am a big fan of just hearing about other card games doing dumb shit, because it makes me feel better about the card game that I play doing dumb shit. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah. I do enjoy this aspect about card games, though, is like seeking out that esoteric knowledge.
Yes.
And I was supposed to talk to someone tonight, actually. Niall, person I do another podcast with, where she's going to play in some RCQs and is actually trying to qualify as well. And so this was kind of a 2 birds, 1 stone sort of deal, where I spend this time playing with Michael, and then I get to relay that knowledge to Niall and everything too. And I do enjoy doing that, just being able to like break things down and explain it to people. Because if someone sat me down and explained this to me like 2 weeks ago, I could have been so much further ahead, you know?
Yeah. You by the way, I assume this is a different Michael, but I feel like there's something you need to inform your former podcast co-host Michael Majors of, which is there is a group of people who have started referring to him as like sort of the arbiter of the snap meta on sort of a first name basis. So
Oh,
like, Hella, one of them is like a big Hella player, Danish. And so like what he'll do is like every time Hella gets better, be like, Michael, you've ruined the metagame again. And I feel like he
Michael
might get a kick.
Simonetti, to be clear.
Different Michael, yes, but it's just like in the card game context, which is weird to me because I've only ever heard of him as Majors. Like it's just not. I've never even. I don't even think he has a first name, and so like
certainly I don't call him Mike. You know, his first name is Michael, right? But he I believe is going to be in Orlando, and we have been kind of shooting deck lists back and forth to each other. So.
But yeah, like Mike. I feel like that'd actually be funnier. They should start calling him Mike. I think
he's just not a Mike. Before Majors, every single Michael I knew was a Mike. He's the first one I met where I'm like, no, you're a Michael. And I think that makes sense.
That implies like some formality in his personality, I think. And to be clear, the game podcast, that was before my time. I've only ever known you and Brian. So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, what I started with was the best iteration. No offense to Dave or Michael or Andrew or any of the other incredible co-hosts you've had on, but I don't know if you understand that slides were larger when I was a kid. And actually coloring books were fun back then. And I don't understand why they're not fun for me anymore. Okay. Like that's actually a problem with the product.
I was going to say newsflash. Coloring books are still pretty fun.
I've been thinking about that a lot where it's like, actually it's a problem with your product that I grew up.
Yeah.
That's something that I've been noticing a lot lately especially with people talking about like ostensible children's media. Like, oh, why don't they make shows like they used to? Because you're 30. You're 30 years old. That's why.
At Dave's house, I sat down with his, at the time, 4-year-old and watched some episodes of this show called, I believe it's Frog and Toad. And I'm just like, this show is dog shit. This show is so bad. I can't believe
the Frog and Toad books. You're shitting. Oh man, they made a bad ad.
No, it was the show. It was the show.
Classics.
I never saw the books, nothing. But I was like, man, this sucks. And it was just like, yeah, I'm not 4. Like, what do you mean? If I was 4, this is probably a rule. Anyway, I got a good story for you.
Sure.
And I heard this today, and it didn't immediately cross my mind where I was like, oh, KM needs to know about this. But an hour and 10 minutes into the podcast, I now realize KM needs to know about this.
Sure. Yep.
Some friends of mine went to a con last weekend. It was effectively for like book talkers.
Okay. So like I'm interpreting that to mean Tumblr romantasy types.
Not even necessarily that. Just like people who are really into books. And there were going to be like panels and guest speakers and cosplayers, just like a normal con, right? And my friend told me their experience of this con, and I was like, so it was like Firefest? And she was like, yeah.
Okay. I do want to know about this. You're right.
Yeah. Basically, there was a room that was supposed to be like fairy snack garden area or whatever. And you go in there and it's just convention center ballroom, not done up at all. And they just give you a little Debbie snack.
It's the sandwiches with 2 slices of cheese. Yes.
Yeah. But they're like, the room is supposed to be all done up. Did you see the like Wonka convention thing?
Yes. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
It's
like that. Yeah. It was like that. It was exactly that. Cause there was also like this masquerade ball where they're like, oh, we're going to be doing like all these decorations and whatever. And it was like the same kind of shit. It was just like one sad, pathetic excuse for a decoration or whatever. And then they ended up leaving a day early, and the hotel was like, "Yeah, we're gonna cancel the last night of your room and refund you because we're just doing that to everyone because it sounds like y'all just got scammed, and we've been trying to get a hold of the convention heads for like the last 2 days or whatever, and they just dipped. They just took everyone's money and dipped. Tickets for this thing were $100. They sold VIP packages for 200, and those all sold out.
Dude, I've got a great idea.
Yeah, yeah,
We should start a con.
yeah. SnapCon.
No, we should call it Con.
Yeah,
and
I
it's
like
where
that.
we con you.
Shitcon.
Shitcon for shitcoin?
Yeah.
Yeah. We should absolutely do this.
I don't know how much money they made. I'm very curious. But like there are also instances of things where like the featured guest showed up and they were supposed to have like everything comped or whatever, right? And they get there and they just don't have hotels. And so some of them just left. They're like, fuck this, I'm going home. And some of them just like paid on their own dime. And then because everyone left by like Saturday, like all the people who were supposed to be running it, there were people that had panels and stuff who just were just like, okay, I'm gonna figure out a way to run my own panel because I don't know, I have this room and I'm supposed to be here, but they have like none of the support that you would normally have at a con, you know? Just wild stuff.
That sounds awesome. I like there's a certain level of real like, and this is a bit toxic of me. I get real schadenfreude out of someone just like really expecting some sort of niche interest to be good, only to have it be held back by like the other people that are into that interest. We once again come back to like the only thing I hate about fandom is fans.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like that's I realize that's a little toxic of me. I realize it makes me like a petty small man. In many ways, I am a petty, jealous, small man. And this is one of those ways. And I absolutely like, when I read a book, the person I identify with is the like petty, jealous, and the Grima Wormtongue. I'm like, I get it, man. You're my guy.
Yeah.
I totally understand, man. Why fuck all these people? Why are they so much better looking than me? Like there's this speech that Ice-T does at the beginning of Dave Chappelle's Player Haters Ball sketch, where he's like, I'll hate on someone for no reason. Why's he got a nice car and I don't have a nice car? Fuck that guy. Like that's the mindset, right? And I totally I endeavor to live my life like I'm hosting the Player Haters Ball. I think it is important that people know that. And even then, this sounds a little bit too sad for me.
I think it's sad where book talk in theory is supposed to be this thing that is like innocent and what's the word for like the nice sweet thing or whatever?
Saccharin?
No, not literally sweet.
Wholesome.
Oh. It's supposed to be like wholesome, right? And then you just get scammed and you leave early. You're like, oh, I'm gonna go to a con. Someone decided to put on a con for this thing that I enjoy, and it's just gonna be me and a bunch of wholesome people chilling out in the fairy lounge. And then you just get scammed. Like that's
Yep. I don't know. I never really got cons like conceptually. Like the idea of like pay to meet someone, it freaks me out a little bit. Like it's like that doesn't feel like an interaction that should exist. My girlfriend took me to one, and I'll tell you this is the only time I feel like it was worthwhile doing. We got a picture with Wallace Shawn, who is the absolute GOAT, but also it is not lost on me that a lot of what I like about Wallace Shawn is his writings on capitalism. And here I am paying, I don't know, $40 for a picture with my guy. It's like, wait a minute. It's not lost on me, but it is something that is notable to me. Like I don't get it, but like being there, it just like it felt so
I think
financial is sort of how I would describe my experience. It's like honestly, it felt a little bit like Vegas, where you just like you go there and you're like,
yes, feels grimy.
yeah, yeah.
I like cons, but it's like you see the people who are also there to enjoy the thing that you also like, and then there's like an artist alley of people who are just trying to make a living doing this thing that they love, which is art in the various ways that they have decided that they want to create art. You know, there are people selling all different types of mediums of things, of the things that they enjoy.
Yeah,
right?
you can find
And
scantily clad women in both Western and Eastern styles.
it's true. And like buttons, bags, prints, metal prints.
A lot of options for fans of
know?
scantily clad women.
Yeah, I think that stuff's maybe like a third of it or whatever, but like there's I think the like Nikkei gun girls, like over the top fan servicey bullshit, and then there's the like, okay, we are definitely over the top and we're self-aware about it. Like there's a big difference between those two, I think, you know?
One thing that I appreciate about book talk specifically is the way in which they just openly sexualize the living shit out of men. Like,
yeah,
the existence of the romantasy genre is just like a fairly reasonable inversion of, like, I don't know, every harem anime in existence. Like it's the same thing. Like it's pretty much the same goddamn plot. And that is like, I think I see a lot of men get mad, and it's like I do think that, like, to some degree, calling yourself, you know, book talk when a lot of it is just like genre fiction, it's like, okay, all right. But like, I like genre fiction, but like, I also go out of my way to make sure, like, I read books, I don't want them to think that I like read books about shit. Like, I read books about swords, dude. Like, it's not the same thing. Like, I am not well read. I read genre fiction. It's it's a difference, right? And granted, you know, I'll do my little Wikipedia dives on like Nobusuke Kishi or various figures of the early Christian Roman Empire, right? Or, you know, the history of Islam and the way at which it moved. But like, that's Wikipedia, right? And that feels like that's what passes for being well read now, which is horrifying because I am not well read. Like, it's bad. I feel like it's bad. I also feel like this might be the single podcast in which we've done the least Marvel Snap Talk, which
I think so too.
We just kind of went for it. Like,
which,
I like how,
I mean, I haven't been playing much Snap, so
you've been really animated this podcast. Like, this is one like you were really into, and I wonder if there's a correlation.
Well, I did take a nap before we recorded too. Like that I think that has a lot to do with it.
I have to tell you, like, I have been playing Snap, and it just sort of feels not like samey or whatever, but like there's like, I wish they would let the cool new decks be cooler for a little longer. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. You got a balanced team, you got a job to do, but it feels like a lot of the time a cool new deck comes out based around a cool new card that's really changing things up. And it's like, okay, we know this is a little too strong, we got to nerf it. And it leaves all of these same like 51 to 53% win rate decks. Fenris Wolf packages, Victoria Hand. It's like the same shit that's been around for forever. Fenris Wolf, Victoria Hand, Merlin Werewolf, Hood Misery, right? All that stuff just sort of ends up getting an inadvertent buff because there's now less competition for it. And it's like, oh, we've just gone back in time. Like,
yeah, but that stuff all exists in the unoffensive space of 51 to 53%, right?
It's inoffensive in an instance, but it's not inoffensive over 5 months. It's inoffensive if you look at a snapshot at any given point in time. But those snapshots exist in the context of all the other stuff that's happened. And this stuff is still here. And
but
so
we did just have a month where like that stuff didn't exist because there were like
but
better
it did exist. It was just worse. Right? Like, no, but it was still around. It was all there. It was just a little bit worse, and now it's back at the top again. And it's just like, okay, like, why is it, and this is like something I don't actually have a good answer for. Why is it that these things feels like all the novel and cool stuff is held to a higher standard than the stuff that is already baked in? You know what I mean? Like, all the tech cards have already been baked in. You know, Hood Misery, they don't even think that's good. They buffed Misery. What the fuck? Like, what the actual
that one was
fuck?
weird to me. That one was weird to me.
But like there's all that kind of stuff where it's like that stuff's all just baked in, but like Agent Venom comes out, gotta kill it. Surtur comes out, gotta kill it. Invisible Woman comes out, gotta kill it, right? And it's just like, what is the good outcome for a new card? And the answer is, if they don't land it perfectly, Agamotto, for example, it's just not gonna land. And I think like Merlin's an example of a card that, to me, I feel they landed it perfectly. It's still probably a little bit strong, but the only thing I find particularly offensive about it is how easy it makes location control. But that's not like a comment on the card per se, so much as it's just like, that is a little bit annoying, but like, I'll live with it because the rest of this is so fun and good, right? And I think that, like, you look at cards like that, like, some of the time they're going to be able to hit like that. But I don't think it's realistic to ask them to constantly hit like that. And I think, weirdly, they have a better track record with making bad season passes better. Like Captain Carter. She's a great season pass. She didn't release as a great season pass. But right now, Captain Carter's probably better than Mr. Fantastic. And I feel like I almost want them to, like... I guess I don't know. I want them to give a longer leash to new cool archetypes. I want them to put more power into Dormammu. Why did they take a point of power off of him when they made his thing cheaper? Was that necessary? No, he still sucks. What the hell was the point of taking him from 11 to 10 power? Why would you ever do that if you're trying to buff the card? Oh, we're worried Dormammu's too strong. What are we talking about? Like, what? What is that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how close he was to being close. I imagine that, there was like some concern there, but it's like, I don't know, just do that. And
like, if you're gonna do it, just do it, right? Like, if you're gonna, like, just take more, like, one of the things I saw recently is a lot of people in Hearthstone, the new set didn't have a lot of impactful cards. And so people are calling for nerfs. And one of the things that was pointed out to me is, like, it's actually kind of stupid to call for nerfs, because the more stuff that gets nerfed, the more back in time we're going. The problem isn't that these cards are outliers. The problem is that the new cards aren't doing anything new. And so you have, like, I
would buff new cards then.
Yeah, buff anything. Hold on a second.
Well, especially due to capitalism, people probably have the old stuff. So if they are disincentivized from buying the new cards because they all stink, then buff some of the new cards, and then now maybe people want to acquire new cards. And then
I think it's also like
a shakeup.
Do it with like signpost cards. Buff Dormammu. Buff Invisible Woman. Like that kind of stuff where it's like, this is an archetype signpost, right? That's the stuff that should be strong. Mr. Fantastic? Fuck that guy. That shit should not be strong. That shit just shouldn't be strong. Like, there's a limit to how good that stuff can be. Agamotto, awesome. Thanos, awesome. Merlin, even Merlin, yes, awesome. Signpost cards. Those are, like, I just feel like what Marvel Snap lacks on a design level is more destroys and discards. And I realize that's hard to do. Dormammu could have been a nice alt on that. Invisible Woman is the closest we've gotten to a new archetype of that nature. And I just don't like rug pulling it so early. I don't even know if I would call it rug pulling. I just don't like being so harsh on it so fast. I don't care how much of an outlier it is. Give it time to establish it itself. And like,
I think the outlier with Invisible Woman was not her or Havoc even. It was the copying of her.
I don't even know if that's true. Like, I think that, like, honest to God, having played the game, I kind of think the outlier with Invisible Woman was Mr. Fantastic. Like, I play that deck now, and it's like, holy shit, do I miss having a 2-drop. It might just end up being like a Herbie angle.
Of course, but like, I think the Invisible Woman stuff is still reasonable, and those cards can be still strong. but it's the copying thing that makes you go
Yeah.
exponential. That is what puts it far and above the other stuff, right? And I think that's just the nature of a lot of these card games is like if you find a way to like duplicate an effect a bunch of times, like you
Yeah.
let me play with like 12 dark rituals in my deck, yeah, I'm gonna build a storm deck, you know, like that is just a thing that I'm gonna do. And like we've done it with Bullseye, we've done it with this card, and I don't think that that's like the intended use case. So I don't know, maybe Frigga should get nerfed and like Prodigy should get
Be
nerfed,
Prodigy,
you know?
yeah. It does raise some questions about the card coming out next month that doubles the activates or like gives you an extra activation on them. Her name is Jocasta.
It certainly does.
But
Because it's a 3 cost thing also, right? So like a lot of those play patterns exist too. So
yeah,
it would not be surprising if like, oh, copy my Jocasta is the thing that I try and do.
well, I don't think it goes exponential the same way, right? Like because
It doesn't, but it's still like, well, if one of them is worth doing, certainly doing it another time is.
Jocasta's an on reveal, right? Like she's not activate, use the abilities at your activates. Because if she was, then it would probably be stupid. But if she's like an on reveal, use the activates, then I think I think she'll probably be like a strong card. And frankly, that's exactly kind of what I'm getting at, where it's like, I think that she should be a strong card. I think she should be allowed some extra leash. Like I think that cards that are creating new archetypes in the destroy discard vein should be encouraged, celebrated, all of that stuff. And I think if anything, a lot of the negative sentiment towards the Mr. Fantastic and Sue Storm stuff was driven by the card Fantasticar. Like that's just I think it's hard not to look at that and say that like some percentage was due to that.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, you started down that path. Like Kid Omega started it too. It was like Kid Omega chased with Fantasticar into the Invisible Woman stuff, and it's just like, yeah, people are really salty for a lot of different reasons. And
Yeah.
it's one of those things where you're like, maybe this never happens to you. I don't know. But I'm gonna speak from my experience. Where like you're having an argument with your significant other,
Never.
and it turns out that the thing that they were mad about is not really the thing that you were talking about at all. It was
Honest to
just like
God.
you were just really, really mad.
Honest to God. Never had that experience. Girlfriend is an angel. Every time she's mad about something, like we've worked a lot on communication, but she will honestly tell me what the thing is that she's mad about, and it is actually the thing that she's mad about. And I almost always am the one in the wrong for having not done whatever thing that she is mad about. Like, oh,
Yeah.
you said you would do this, you didn't do this. I am angry at you. 100% valid. I am always in the wrong in our arguments. Like it is. I have never had her get mad at me unjustly. It just doesn't happen. And like I think that is, there have been situations in which maybe she was too mad in my view about something, but there has never been something where I did not give her cause to be angry.
Yeah. And I mean, it is good that she brings the thing up in the moment instead of letting it stew and become resentment. And then it's just like,
No,
you
that
do
one we
something
worked
small
on.
and
But
okay, fair. I've been in spots where I'm like, hey, we should work on this. By we, I mean you. And they're like, yeah.
I don't know.
And then we do it.
I've always approached those situations where it's like, first thing I do is be like, what could I have done better here? And then it's like, I will work on this if you work on this. And that's typically done well for us.
The thing that I did not understand was that like there was a reason that like she did not feel comfortable voicing that like displeasure or distaste immediately. And some of it could have been how I reacted, or some of it could have been, I think a lot of it was like based in childhood, you know, like you just get that negative reinforcement whenever you do a thing like that. So you're just like, okay, well, I guess I'm just not going to bring it up. I can't because bad things will happen. But then it does become this resentment thing. And then it's like, it just blows up and it's like, shit, I feel like this was avoidable, you know?
The ways in which I am typically toxic in relationships typically involve either never not joking, like pretty much always, whatever situation, it's like, here's the joke, here's the joke, here's the joke, go out and get it, go out and get it, go out and get it. And like, Lord knows what trauma I have for being a person like that, like whatever made me into like real life Chandler Bing. But I am like that, right? And so like that can make it very frustrating if you're trying to convey something serious and I'm not engaging with it in that way. Even though in my head I am engaging with it in that way, I just don't really operate in other ways. And the other thing I do is I'll be like, I will totally do this, and then I don't do it. Those are my big toxic traits in that make that, like, over time would very reasonably make my significant other feel that if she tells me to do something, she can't trust that I will listen or take it seriously. And that discourages her from actually telling me things. All of this is like very straightforward, but it is something that took an embarrassingly long amount of time for me to understand.
I would hope that you're coming from a position where it's not that you are, you know, minimizing her wants or needs or anything. It's just like you do intend to do it.
Yes, and then I just don't do it. Yes, like that is accurate, but it doesn't matter what I intend. Like fundamentally, what matters is that I said I would do it, and then that I didn't do it. And it's like, oh, well, I meant to do it. Who gives a shit? Right after this, I've got to go do our cat's litter. And if I forget to do our cat's litter, that's really bad because I forgot it last night.
Bro, get a litter robot. Oh my God.
Even with a litter robot, you still have to like change the full litter.
Yeah, but
instead
of scooping like every day or every other day or whatever.
No, I know. We have one of those. It's great. I have to do the full change and I've been putting it off.
Oh my God. It's so easy for me now. I used to put off the litter thing, and then it just becomes a mess, and my cats hate it and I hate it, right? The robot is just
No, I mean, like it's I have a long way to go in becoming a better person. I think everyone does. And I will pat myself on the back for this. I think I've been pretty good snap wise. Like I've had some meltdowns and I've made them funny. And that's a big step forward. That's a big step forward.
It's a step forward. I would like you to get to a point, no rush.
Yeah.
No rush.
We'll see.
Where you don't have a meltdown. Where that is not the reaction that happens.
It's getting closer to that. But like I've actually been quite happy with how I've been. I had a really bad one that was just like, oh my God, what the fuck is happening? Really bad string of luck. But I think I made it funny enough that I would have someone chop it up and put it on YouTube as like a rage compilation. And I feel like failing the ability to not be a man-child, I can at least be a man-child in the Chandler Bing way and bring entertainment value with that when I do that. I've tried a bunch of stuff that hasn't stuck, but I do feel like I'm on an upward trajectory as a content creator, which is weird in a world where the metrics are on a downward trajectory. But sometimes you just got to be like, that's not my fault. That's not my fault. Blame Kid Omega.
As someone who has been making content for how many decades at this point? I don't
75. Since the early 75 decades. I mean, you've been making content since I would say, around 629 AD in Ctesiphon.
Esoteric since 629 AD.
Yeah, around the fall of the Sasanian Empire. That's the end of the Roman Persian Wars. That's about it. That's they fought each other for 700 years, and the border basically remained in the same space the entire time. Like they would swap if
complete standstill.
Yeah, like over multiple dynasties, right? Like we're talking about like
goes a little and then goes a little back. And,
yes, and we're talking about like there were multiple dynasties: the Seleucid Empire, the Parthian Empire, the Sasanian Empire, and then on the Roman side, you had the full Roman Republic, the Roman Empire, the Eastern Roman Empire, all of the like various successor states. 700 years of fighting, and they basically just traded half of, not even Turkey, but like that area around for 700 years. And then both of them got absolutely shit canned by the Muslims. That's literally it. They just spent 700 years doing that and then got absolutely fucking obliterated. That's the history.
There are some interesting comparisons I can make here to card game players, but
wait, hold on. You don't get to jump past that. Please make those comparisons.
No, I'll tell you after the podcast.
Okay. Esoteric knowledge remains esoteric, even from our viewers. Yep.
You can catch it on the Patreon episode.
I really do think there is something to this theory, the esoteric knowledge theory of why people like card games, because it's not just like it's combat writ small, it's victories writ small, it's a way of testing yourself writ small. A lot of the things we have in the modern day are things from the past writ smaller, right? Where it's like, because we know so much more about everything, there's not as much room out there for these concepts to fill. So like sports are like mythology writ small, right? People arguing over who's better. It's like sort of like they used to argue over gods. Like it's not the same, but it hits the same space, right? Games
it is kind of dope to just like go to a spot on the internet and like someone will tell you how to gear your character. And like, you don't need to know the hows or whys or whatever, but you're like, I know they're right.
That person might as well be a priest. Like that's the analogy I'm drawing, right? Like they're a priest of the Mithraic mysteries in early Rome, right? Like that's that they'll just tell you what you need to do to live your life right, and that's how you go do it. And it's like, yep, it'll probably work. Like go sacrifice this goat, you know? It'll work.
Man, my whole thing was like, oh, people are like reading my stuff in the hopes that they will become me. And then I just started giving them sideboarding guides because I realized the truth, where they were just seeking the knowledge of like, how do I not shit myself when I go to FNM?
Yeah. Yeah. You're like
you
a
don't
priest.
Want to become me?
Yeah.
You don't want to become me? They're like, fuck no. Why? Look at you. Why would I want to do that?
Yeah, dude. Why the fuck would I ever decide to like Snom? What a weird ass favorite Pokemon. Why would I do this? Why would I want to do this? Yeah, like I don't know. I really appreciate that concept. Like I hadn't really fully delved into it, but it does feel like a lot of things we have today are concepts from the ancient world that are much smaller due to all the knowledge that we have. We know so much that there's not enough room out there for these concepts, so we make them smaller and we put them in different spaces, but they activate the same parts of our brain.
I think there's a lot to unpack here and think about in terms of like how to go about doing your content. Maybe
what,
not
like the implication is that I should just like lie more, I think. that's
I mean, maybe. Obviously there are more ways to utilize this in terms of grifting. Sure. But similarly to Snap and how they sell their season passes or whatever, I feel like you could grift more effectively outside of the Marvel Snap space.
So what you're saying is we should start a con.
Yeah, shitcon.
Yeah, we need to get this going. You need to get this off the ground, dude.
If you want to look this up, it was called Once Upon a Con.
Oh, that hurts.
Which, yeah, in hindsight, it's like, oh, maybe we should have known. I don't know. My headcanon
Surely
was
you
like,
would do once a con a time.
Maybe it was that. It's something like that. But
I don't know. I feel like if they didn't, that's kind of leaving money on the table, you know?
Well, hey, I mean, why not just run it back?
Get in touch. We need to get in touch with the organizers. We need their esoteric
whole
knowledge.
Other coast. Yeah, there's a whole other coast. My headcanon is that they started running a con and they're just some earnest, wholesome book talkers, you know, who just wanted to get their homies together. And then they're like, this is really hard. And then they just had a breakdown and they had to leave. And they didn't mean to con everyone. But now, yeah, there are class action lawsuits happening, and I'd eagerly await the Netflix special.
Awesome. That's so dope. This concept of esoteric knowledge selling, like, it's the same thing that I think every, like, you know, have you seen that TikTok guy who's like, you think there are 7 days in a week? There are not 7 days in a week. My day actually has 4 days in it. When I wake up 6 a.m. to 12 p.m., that's one day. 12 p.m. to 6 p.m., that's another day. I have 4 days a week. I'm doing 4 times as much as you. When you put that together over a week, I'm way ahead of you. When you put that together over a month, I'm kicking your butt. When you put that together over a year, I am infinitely far ahead. Like, have you seen that guy?
When you started with, have you seen the TikTok guy, that I was just immediately like, no. And somehow I do know this guy.
This guy fucking rocks. But, like, that's the same, like, purveyor of esoteric knowledge, right? Like, in much the same way that, like, and there's a bunch of, like, other, like, weird cultural anthropology stuff going on here, I think, which I think that's the right word for what I'm doing. I probably shouldn't use actual scientific terms for what it's really just me noticing and bullshitting. But, like, have you noticed how they're all, like, jacked, you know? And, like, that is a signifier of success in much the same way as, like, it's like the people they're appealing to are, like, not necessarily where they want to be in life. Maybe they'd like to be in better shape. You look at a guy like the Liver King,
right.
You look at a guy like that. The esoteric knowledge they're portraying is related to the image they're portraying. And
yeah, they're like, do this workout, right? And you'll get jacked like me. And it's like they forget to mention that they also take a bunch of steroids.
Right. What is it? What is the equivalent? What are those signifiers for a card gamer? Like, what is it that fits the archetype of what a card gamer should be in the same way that a jacked guy in a polo fits the, like, success coach archetype? Like, what is it that I should be visually representing?
I think instead of the substitute plushie that I have on my shelf, you see that silver tin right next to it? That's Garfield versus Finkel, the box set. Instead of having those things on my shelf, I should have trophies on my shelf. I think that would be the signifier. Right? Like, how many times do you tune into, like, Kibler's stream, or, like, I don't know. Todd didn't have this in his stream or anything. It was in his kitchen. He had, like, shelves with all of his trophies and stuff. You know, I think that's kind of the thing, right? Like, people try and put that in their backdrop for a reason.
Yeah, that makes sense. But, like, what can I do physically? Like, what is it? What is it that's the version of getting jacked, but for a card gamer? Is there a specific facial hair I should have?
I think it's just being white, being like slightly unkempt. Like, they look at you and they don't know if you showered today, that kind of thing. You know? Like, I can't tell.
Pearls of wisdom, Gerry Thompson. This has been another episode of the KMBest podcast, asking you the question: can you tell if we've showered today? Let me know in the comments.